Hello and welcome back to my channel. Farmer Warden here, and today we're going to be talking about 25 tips for mining. Now this video is also going to be a guide on mining in general, so the first few tips are going to be for early game, then we're going to get into mid game, and then we're going to get into late game, and there are even 2 or 3 tips in the end that could be useful for end game players as well. So make sure to stick until the end. But before we get into it, if this is your second or third time watching one of my videos, this might be a sign that you need to subscribe. I don't know. We just hit 1,000 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. Thank you guys for that. I would like to hit 2,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so hopefully we can get that. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right on into it. So tip number 1 is to do your daily commissions. By daily commissions, I mean the daily bonus that you get from your commissions. So if you didn't know, you get 400 Heart of the Mountain XP as a base reward for all of the commissions. And you get 900 extra Heart of the Mountain XP from doing your first 4 commissions of the day. That means a total of 5,200 XP per day that you can get from these bonuses. So make sure to do that. It takes about 30 minutes. 30 minutes of gameplay shouldn't be that big of a deal considering that you play Skyblock. So make sure to take advantage of your daily commissions. Now the second tip, when you enter the Dwarven Mines, if you go to the right over here, there's this NPC called Boo Boo. The second tip is to take advantage of everything that Boo Boo has to offer. Boo Boo has this menu of pickaxes that you can choose from. So these pickaxes have more mining speed than the typical diamond pickaxes that everyone starts out with. So make sure to go ahead and buy a fractured mithril pickaxe once you enter the Dwarven Mines. And then the other pickaxes are going to require higher Heart of the Mountain levels. So as you level up your Heart of the Mountain, you're going to upgrade your pickaxe. The highest pickaxe I would go for is refined mithril pickaxe, because the titanium pickaxes actually have a lower mining speed than the refined mithril pickaxe. This costs around 2 million coins, probably costs less if you just forge the items. And for armor, I would say get yourself lapis armor, because that one gives you 20 mining speed compared to glaciite armor that only gives you like 10 mining speed per piece. However, glaciite is better for survivability in the Dwarven Mines, so take your pick. But I would recommend the lapis armor again, because most of the commissions are going to require you to do mining related tasks. Now tip number 3 is to not get into crystal hollows until Heart of the Mountain tier 5. So if you do your daily commissions for about a week, you can get Heart of the Mountain tier 4, which gives you access to the crystal hollows. However, I don't think that you should get into crystal hollows commissions until you get to Heart of the Mountain tier 5. This takes me to my next tip, and that is to go from glaciite or lapis armor straight to sorrow armor instead of going to yogg and then going to sorrow armor. Yogg armor is this armor that gives you pretty decent mining speed and mining fortune, and it gives you extra mining speed for killing these mobs called yogg. Now yoggs are not the easiest mobs to kill, and they are not the fastest mobs to kill either. I personally don't think it's worth it to get the yogg armor. If you're an Iron Man, you're gonna have to go through yogg armor first before getting to sorrow armor or Devon armor, and I would like to formally deliver my condolences for that. However, if you are on a normal profile and you can just buy the armors with money, you should get sorrow armor right after glaciite armor or lapis armor. Sorrow armor is gonna be more expensive than the yogg armor, obviously. Yogg is around 2 million coins, whereas sorrow is going to be closer to 10 million coins. However, sorrow is going to be worth it simply because it has a universal gemstone slot, as well as being a rarity higher than yogg, as well as giving you magic find. And you're going to have to upgrade from yogg to sorrow armor in order to get into crystal hollows anyway, so might as well just do it now. Now tip number 4 is to ignore Core of the Mountain completely. This is self-explanatory because you don't need to be spending 50,000 mithril powder on something that you're not going to use at this stage of the game. This takes me to my next tip, which is to spend most of your mithril powder on mining speed perk. I understand that you have to spend some of your powder on titanium insanium and efficient miner for your commissions. However, the perk that you should be focused on the most is going to be the mining speed perk. And this is because mining speed is a stat that you're going to need the most at this stage of the game. One way to make money in the Dwarven Mines, and this is going to take me to my next tip, is going to be doing treasure hoarders. Now, treasure hoarders is a very good early game money making method. This money making method can make you close to 10 million coins per hour using an Aurora staff. So an Aurora staff is going to be like what, 1 million coins, I think. It's not that bad. You can also use young dragon armor with the necrotic reforge in order to get more mana and do more damage. But treasure hoarders are going to be these mobs over here, right above the ramp Ramparts Quarry right here. So as you enter the Ramparts Quarry, you're just going to teleport up, and then you're going to come over here and see these treasure hoarders right here. These spawn in these areas. One of them spawns on the bridge, but the best spawning point is over here in this little room, as you can see in between these two mithril veins. So you go in here and you see that there are 3 of them right here. You can kill these with your Aurora staff, and they drop starfalls as well as treasurites. You can do this for 1 hour and get yourself sorrow armor, so make sure to do that. Now once you get yourself the sorrow armor, you are probably Heart of the Mountain tier 5, because that's the requirement that it has for it to be unlocked. So once you're Heart of the Mountain tier 5, tip number 8 is to make sure to do Crystal Hollows commissions right after you hit Heart of the Mountain tier 5, because this is the point where you have the sorrow armor. You can use the sorrow armor to do Crystal Hollows commissions. Now there are a few tips about Crystal Hollows commissions as well. So tip number 9 is going to be using an armadillo pet. Now as you can see here, I have some Crystal Hollows commissions, and one of them is telling me to mine 1,000 amethyst gemstones. Now in order for this commission to be complete, you can use a tool that has a breaking power of 7, like the Piconimbus for example, and then an armadillo pet in order to mine those gemstones. So all you have to do is just hold your mining tool that has the breaking power enough to break amethyst, and then just go on top of the armadillo pet and then just mine it like this. So this way you don't actually have to rely on mining speed anymore. It just insta mines it by itself. Now tip number 10, as you saw in my commissions, I also have a commission for doing the amber crystal. So if you have a crystal commission, do that commission as well, but also make sure to do nucleus runs as well as doing these crystal commissions. So if I get the amber crystal, this is probably going to get replaced with something like amethyst crystal or jade crystal or something like that, and then it keeps going until it goes through all 5 of the crystals, right? Once you get all 5 of the crystals, you can place them down in their corresponding locations, and you get a bunch of rewards over here, and those rewards include 800 extra Heart of the Mountain XP. So make sure to do nucleus runs as well as commissions to get extra Heart of the Mountain XP. Tip number 11, and you probably hear this a lot, is going to be grinding until Heart of the Mountain tier 7 before you get into powder mining. So if you do Crystal Hollows commissions from Heart of the Mountain tier 5 all the way to Heart of the Mountain tier 7, that's going to give you a lot of powder, because the commissions also give you 800 gemstone powder as a base reward. For me, it has a daily bonus because I'm Heart of the Mountain tier 10 and I don't have any more XP to gain, so it just gives me powder instead. But for you guys, it's probably going to be 800 gemstone powder. If you're only doing Crystal Hollows commissions, that should be enough gemstone powder for Great Explorer level 15, which is what you need. And this takes me to my next tip, tip number 12. Once you're at Heart of the Mountain tier 7, focus on Great Explorer first. Mole and powder buff can be set for later, because mole can be replaced with something called mineral armor, which gives you mining spread, and you can also use the armadillo pet, that also gives you mining spread. So mole is not necessarily that important in the beginning. The most important perk is going to be Great Explorer. Once you have Great Explorer maxed out, then you can start to focus on powder buff or mole, depending on which one you think you need more. I think you need mole at least to level 50 or 60, and then you can focus on powder buff until you get it to level 30 or 35. But the first perk that you need to focus on is definitely Great Explorer. Now you're gonna need a lot of money in mid game in general in order to upgrade your sorrow armor. Maybe you want to recombobulate it, maybe you want to reforge it to jaded, maybe you want to upgrade to Devon's armor, maybe you want to upgrade your tool to like a Jasper drill or something. Tip number 13, this is when you should start powder mining in one of these 3 areas: jungle, precursor remnants, or the goblin hideout. Now the goblin hideout and the precursor remnants are self-explanatory. Precursor remnants gives you robot parts, which sell for pretty good money, and goblin hideout gives you goblin eggs, which sell for pretty good money. However, in the jungle, it's a little different. You don't get money from the items that you get from the powder chests. You get money from sludge, and the way you get sludge is by using this thing called the jungle pickaxe. Now the jungle pickaxe, even with efficiency 5, only gives you 440 mining speed. However, this is a bonus tip. You guys can reset your Heart of the Mountain and then use all of your mithril powder on the mining speed perk in order to get the mining speed required to insta break heartstone. So make sure to powder mine in an area that's going to make you money as well as powder. Tip number 14 is to use either a Jasper drill for mining gemstone powder or use a 326 for mining mithril powder. These are the 2 drills that are going to give you an extra percentage of their corresponding powder. So Jasper drill is going to give you 20% more gemstone powder, and the 326 is going to give you 40% more mithril powder. So make sure you are using these drills. So if you are mining mithril, make sure to mine it it with the 326, of course. And if you're mining gemstones, make sure to open your treasure chests using the Jasper drill so that you get the extra 20% powder. Bonus tip here, make sure to get yourself a spicy goblin omelet as well if you have money. This is going to add another 20% to whichever type of drill that you're putting it on. Now tip number 15, if you are using either of these two perks called daily powder or daily grind, make sure to disable them until there is a 2x powder event. I cannot tell you the amount of times where I've gotten on and started powder mining and accidentally used the daily powder without a double powder being on. Now this is like a mini upgrade. It's not necessarily required, but it is an extra boost that you can get if you're taking advantage of it in a double powder event compared to when there is no double powder event. Tip number 16 is to get yourself 4 mil, 8 mil at least. So 4 million mithril powder is going to be enough for you to upgrade mining speed and mining fortune all the way to level 50. And 8 mil gemstone powder is going to be enough for you to max out fortunate mine man and speedy mine man. So that's the amount that you're going to need to max out all of the perks for mining speed and mining fortune. And then if you want to get like specific mining fortune like block fortune, or you want to get ore fortune, maybe you want to get gemstone fortune, all of those things are going to be maxed out by grinding more powder. Important note here, if you want to max it out to the point where you can use all of the perks that you're ever going to need, the most that you're going to need is going to be 8 million mithril powder as well as 12 million gemstone powder. So 8 million mithril powder, you can max out mining fortune, mining speed, as well as efficient miner. And these are the only 3 perks that you need to max out as far as mithril powder goes. So 8 mil should be enough for that. And the same thing goes for gemstone powder. So if you want to upgrade your fortunate mine man and speedy mine man to maxed out, and you want to get extra speed, extra fortune for the type of block that you're mining, maybe it's block, maybe it's, you know, ore fortune, even if it's gemstone fortune, the most amount of powder that you're going to need is for professional. And that's why you need 12 mil. If you need ore fortune or block fortune, you only need like 9 million gemstone powder. But if you want gemstone fortune and gemstone speed, then you're gonna have to go all the way to 12 mil powder. Now tip number 17 is for a bit of a late game players. So if you are at a level where you have a maxed out Devon armor, these tips are gonna be for you. So you have the maxed out Devon armor, you have enough powder, now you want to get into glaciate tunnels. Well, I would highly recommend doing sludge mining, as that will make you around 20 million coins per hour if you're only doing it for money, and use that money making method to get yourself enough money for a 655, because you're gonna need at least a base 655 to grind the commissions in the glaciate tunnels. The dwarven metals that are located in the glaciate tunnels require a breaking power of 9, and the only tools that have that breaking power are gonna be either the Jasper drill or the 655, in which case the 655 is much better because the Jasper drill only has 710 mining speed, and it's gonna take forever for you to break any of those blocks with this kind of mining speed. Tip number 18 is to get yourself a travel scroll to the dwarven base camp. I cannot stress this enough. So once you get into the glaciate tunnels, there is this campfire right here that's going to reset your cold to 0. So every time you go into the glaciate tunnels, as you can see, I have cold building up. Cold is at 0 right now. I have a lot of cold resistance, but eventually it'll go down to like -1, right? Now cold is going to affect your stats in terms of mining speed, speed in general, as well as mining fortune. So you're gonna have less mining fortune and mining speed and just speed in general if your cold builds up to a high number like -50 or something. And in order to reset this, you need to go back to the dwarven base camp, and once you go here, as you can see, the warmth of the campfire reduced your cold to 0. So the faster way to do this is to have a dwarven base camp travel scroll and just warp back to the dwarven base camp. Just hit warp glaciate, and that's it. Your cold is reset. So basically every time you do a commission, you just warp back to the campfire and you reset your cold to 0. Now tip number 19, another way that you can help yourself with the cold resistance is gonna be using some gear. So having a glaciate golem pet is gonna help you out. It's gonna give you up to 10 cold resistance at level 100. I would recommend buying a level 1 though, because level 100 is around 42 million coins and level 1 is around 25 million coins. Another gear piece that can help you out a lot is gonna be the dwarven hand warmers. Now the dwarven hand warmers, as you can see right here, it gives me mining speed as well as mining fortune, but it also gives me 5 cold resistance. So you get a total of 15 cold resistance from glaciate golem and dwarven hand warmers. So cold resistance in general is just going to help out the process of cold building up. So it's just going to build up a lot slower once you have a glaciate golem pet and dwarven hand warmers, and you're going to be able to stay in the glaciate tunnels for quite a bit longer, which means you get to do more commissions before warping back to the campfire right here. Tip number 20 is to use Picobulus as an ability while you're doing glaciate commissions. I cannot stress this enough. This is a very useful ability when it comes to glaciate tunnels. It basically allows you to throw your pickaxe and instantly mine like all of the blocks within a 3-block radius. If you throw it at the right part of the veins that you're trying to mine, sometimes it completes an entire commission all by its own. So very useful ability. Make sure to use this while you're grinding in the glaciate commissions. Definitely replace your mining speed boost with Picobulus. Now tip number 21 is to take advantage of this guy, Dr. Stone. This is probably the most important tip in the entire video. Dr. Stone has all of these fossils, each of them costing around 500,000 coins, and the most expensive one is going to be the ugly fossil, which is going to cost around 4 million coins. But if you don't want to buy them from the auction house, the way you get them is by using suspicious scraps and the fossil excavator. So once you use your chisel and your scrap and you start the excavator, one of the rewards that you can get is going to be one of the fossils that you have to give to Dr. Stone. However, I would highly recommend doing this in a double powder event and after you get Heart of the Mountain tier 10, because after you get to Heart of the Mountain tier 10, it gives you another bonus 50,000 glaciate powder, and if you do it during a double powder event, that also affects it. So instead of 50,000, you get 100,000 plus all of the extra bonus that you get from donating each fossil. Now, one other thing is to make sure you have your glaciate golem pet out. Make sure to have a drill that has a spicy goblin omelet on it to take advantage of all of those things. I made the mistake of doing this when I was below Heart of the Mountain tier 10, so I didn't get to take advantage of the 50,000 extra bonus that it gives. So make sure you guys take advantage of this. This is huge for glaciate powder. Tip number 22 is to not go for a Devon's drill. It is 100% not worth it. I am looking at my drill right now. This is a completely maxed out 655 with all of the perfect enchants. The only enchant that I'm missing is compact 10. I'm at compact 8 right now, but everything else is pretty much maxed out. This is as far as you need to go in terms of mining tools. Like the Devon's drill is for people that just really like mining in general, or just use mining as their main money making method, or maybe they're like me and Devon's drill has been their dream item for a very long time. But if this is not your dream and you don't like getting the Devon's drill, then don't go for it. It is not worth it. The only thing that's going to be different is that it's going to have like 300 more mining speed and about 100 more mining fortune. So it's not really that different than a 655, yet it still costs 1.5 billion coins to upgrade from this to a Devon's drill. 100% not worth it. Do not go for a Devon's drill. If you have this, just go for max powder and then you can mine for money. Now these last few tips are going to be for mostly end game players or late game players that are trying to mine but are finding it boring. So if you find it boring to mine, make sure you mine something that you enjoy. Instead of looking on YouTube and trying to see which block makes the most amount of money, try to look for a block that you like to break. If you like mining gemstones, then go ahead and mine gemstones. I personally like to mine jade, and jade is probably one of the blocks that makes the least amount of money, but I like it and therefore I do it. If there is a certain block that you like, make sure to mine that block specifically, even if it doesn't make as much money as maybe like mining ores or mining red sand or mining mycelium. So tip 23, make sure to mine something you enjoy. So tip number 24, if you find it difficult to keep yourself motivated to mine, set mini goals for yourself. I have this backpack over here, backpack number 13, where I just say, all right, I just want to fill like this row with flawless gemstones, and then that would be my goal, and then I just keep mining until I get all the row filled with flawless gemstones. Now you can set mini goals like me, or you can set like huge goals like, oh, I want to fill an entire double chest full with like perfect gems or like stacks of whatever it is that you're mining. And just having the vision that you're gonna have a backpack full of gemstones or full of enchanted items or full of stacks or whatever it is that you're mining is gonna motivate you, is gonna drive you to keep on mining. Now another way, tip number 5, is to put on podcasts or YouTube cues while mining. I have two screens, so I can just put YouTube on my second screen while I'm mining on my first screen and just like watch a bunch of YouTube videos. And I know that mining also requires your eyes to be on your screen at all times, so that's why I recommend podcasts, because you don't really need to watch the video in order to understand what they're they're talking about. You just need to listen. It's much better than silence, and it's also much better than music in some cases, in my opinion. But yeah, that is 25 mining tips that I thought would be useful for you guys. So to recap, I'm going to go over the most important tips of the video. So the first most important tip is to make sure you get to Heart of the Mountain tier 7 before you start to powder mine. Again, this is very important, not only because you unlock powder buff at Heart of the Mountain tier 7, but also because you get enough gemstone powder from doing Crystal Hollows commissions to get your Great Explorer to a decent level before you start to powder mine. The second most important tip is the fact that you need 4 mil, 8 mil powder in order to make money from mining. The third most important tip is going to be having a 655 for glaciate tunnels. I can't stress enough how important it is to use a 655 instead of a Jasper drill. The fourth most important tip, and probably the most important tip of the video, is going to be taking advantage of Dr. Stone during a double powder event and after you hit Heart of the Mountain tier 10, just to take advantage of the bonus glaciate powder that you get from that NPC. And last but not least, the fifth most important tip is to mine something that you enjoy instead of mining something that makes the most amount of money. So if you are mining at any stage of the game, make sure to take these tips into consideration. And if this video helped you out in any way, make sure to like the video, comment down below if there is something that I missed. I probably have. It's only 25 tips. There are way more tips that I can give, but these are the most important ones in my opinion. But that's about it for now. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.